They've survived scandal, divorce, public humiliation, financial ruin. Through it all, they had each other, and they had their home. But now, after 2 decades of defying the odds, Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew face their greatest challenge yet. Sources close to the couple reveal they're in a fragile state, emotionally shattered, financially cornered, preparing for the unthinkable. This is the story of a love that never quite ended, a couple who rebuilt their lives in the shadow of disgrace, and the home that became their last refuge from a world that wanted them gone. But King Charles has made his decision. The doors of Royal Lodge are closing. And for Sarah and Andrew, this is the end of everything. To understand why losing Royal Lodge is breaking them, you need to understand how they got here. 1986, Westminster Abbey. The world watched as Sarah Ferguson became the Duchess of York, marrying Queen Elizabeth's favorite son. She was the breath of fresh air the royals needed. Fun-loving, down-to-earth, unpolished in all the best ways. He was the dashing helicopter pilot, the war hero from the Falklands, the Queen's golden boy. The public adored them. They seemed genuinely in love, laughing, playful, completely unsuited for the stuffy constraints of royal life. They had 2 daughters, Beatrice in 1988, Eugenie in 1990. Andrew's naval duties kept him away for months. Sarah, left alone in the royal fishbowl, struggled. The press turned on her. They mocked her weight, her spending, her every move. By 1992, the marriage was over. Photographers caught Sarah with American financial advisor John Bryan, topless, by a pool, in compromising positions. The royals were furious. The Queen, reportedly, was disgusted. Sarah was cast out, humiliated on a global stage. But here's where their story becomes unusual. Unlike Charles and Diana, whose divorce was vicious, Andrew and Sarah remained devoted to each other. They divorced in 1996, but they never really separated. 2004, Andrew moved into Royal Lodge after spending £7.5 million renovating it. Not as his wife, not officially, but as his partner, his companion, his soulmate. They raised their daughters together, celebrated holidays together, lived as a family unit, just without the marriage certificate. To the outside world, it seemed bizarre. Divorced couples don't typically live together for decades. But for Sarah and Andrew, it worked. "We're the happiest divorced couple in the world," Sarah once said in an interview. "We're divorced to each other, not from each other." Royal Lodge became their sanctuary, 90 acres where they could hide from judgment, 30 rooms filled with memories, laughter, and the life they'd built despite everything. For Sarah, it was redemption. After years of financial disasters, bankruptcy, scandal, struggles to stay afloat, she'd found stability. She rebuilt her career through writing, public speaking, charity work. For Andrew, it was dignity, a palace that reminded him he was still a prince. They had their daughters visit with their grandchildren, garden parties, quiet evenings, a rhythm that, against all odds, resembled happiness. By 2019, Andrew's friendship with the convicted sex offender had become a public crisis. Allegations emerged. Virginia Giuffre claimed Andrew sexually assaulted her when she was 17, claims he vehemently denied. Then came that interview. November 2019, BBC Newsnight. Emily Maitlis. The world watched in horror as Andrew defended himself with bizarre excuses. Pizza Express and Woking. An inability to sweat. No recollection of meeting Giuffre, despite a photograph of them together. Within days, Andrew was stripped of his royal duties. His military titles, gone. Patronages, removed. His HRH status, effectively meaningless. In 2022, he settled Giuffre's lawsuit for a reported £12 million. No admission of guilt, but the damage was done. Through it all, Sarah stood by him. While the world condemned him, while his family distanced themselves, while he became the monarchy's greatest embarrassment, Sarah never left. She defended him publicly, called him a kind, good man, insisted the world had it wrong. Their bond deepened. Royal Lodge became even more important, not just a home, but a hideout, a place where Andrew could pretend the outside world didn't exist, where Sarah could protect him from the constant barrage of hatred. When Queen Elizabeth died in September 2022, Andrew lost his greatest defender. Charles's vision for the monarchy is clear, streamlined, cost-effective, focused on working royals only. Andrew doesn't fit that vision. By late 2022, reports emerged. Charles wanted Andrew out of Royal Lodge. The reasoning seemed practical. Why should a disgraced, non-working royal occupy a 30-room mansion on prime Windsor estate? 5 bedrooms. Much smaller, much cheaper to maintain. The same property Harry and Meghan had just been evicted from. Sources say he saw it as the ultimate humiliation. Accepting Frogmore meant accepting he was on the same level as Harry, exiled, irrelevant, erased. For a man who'd lost everything else, Royal Lodge was the last symbol of his status. After decades of rebuilding her life, establishing stability, creating a home, being forced out felt like punishment for crimes she didn't commit. When Andrew refused to budge, Charles escalated. He cut off Andrew's £1 million annual allowance. Then, he withdrew funding for Andrew's private security, a multi-million pound expense Andrew couldn't possibly afford on his own. The message was clear: leave or be financially destroyed. Friends of the couple described them as devastated, cornered, in a fragile state. Sarah, once so resilient, is reportedly struggling. She's built a career, yes, but not enough to fund a mansion and security for a man half the world despises. Andrew, sources say, is broken, humiliated, watching his brother systematically dismantle the last pieces of his life. Then came the move that sealed their fate. Recent reports confirm the Crown Estate is preparing to terminate Andrew's lease, on the grounds he cannot meet the maintenance obligations outlined in his contract. When Andrew signed that 75-year lease, he agreed to keep Royal Lodge in pristine condition. Without funds, he's in breach. Legal experts say Andrew has few options. He could fight it in court, but that means more legal fees, more public humiliation, and an outcome that's far from guaranteed. He could try to negotiate, but Charles holds all the cards: the money, the property, the power. Or he could surrender, pack up 2 decades of memories, and move to Frogmore Cottage, admitting defeat. For Sarah and Andrew, this isn't just about a house. It's about losing the last place where they felt safe, where they built a life together against impossible odds, where their daughters visit with grandchildren, where they've clung to some shred of dignity. Sources describe the couple as being in preparation mode, not because they want to leave, but because they have no choice. Sarah is reportedly heartbroken. After years of standing by Andrew, defending him, loving him despite everything, this feels like the final betrayal. Not by Andrew, but by the institution that was supposed to be family. Andrew, meanwhile, is said to be furious, humiliated, watching his brother, the king, systematically erase him from royal life. Why should taxpayers indirectly fund a mansion for a man accused of such terrible things? He settled for £12 million. He's disgraced the monarchy. He should face consequences. They see Charles's move as justified, necessary, a king doing what needs to be done. The other side says, this is cruel. He's already lost everything. His reputation, his titles, his place in the family. Is kicking him out of his home really necessary? Where's the compassion? Where's the family loyalty? They point to Sarah, a woman who's committed no crime, who's rebuilt her life with grace, who's being punished simply for loving a man the world hates. Royal commentators suggest this is about optics. How can the monarchy preach about modernization and cost-cutting while housing a non-working royal in a palace? But others wonder if there's something darker at play. Is Charles punishing Andrew not just for his past, but for refusing to disappear quietly? For not accepting exile with grace? For reminding the world, simply by existing at Royal Lodge, of the monarchy's most shameful scandal? As of now, Sarah and Andrew remain at Royal Lodge, but sources say they're in preparation mode, quietly coming to terms with the inevitable. They pack up their lives, move to Frogmore Cottage, and accept that their time at Royal Lodge is over. It would be quiet, dignified, a sad ending to a love story that defied convention. Andrew takes this to court, challenges the lease termination, turns this into a legal battle that drags the monarchy through more public humiliation. It's risky, expensive, and might destroy what little reputation he has left. Andrew somehow secures the money to maintain Royal Lodge and pay for security. Wealthy friends, business ventures, a miraculous financial lifeline. It's possible, but unlikely. Regardless of which path they choose, one thing is clear. For 20 years, Sarah and Andrew have lived in Royal Lodge as a testament to resilience, to a love that survived divorce, scandal, public condemnation. They've raised their daughters, welcomed grandchildren, built a life that, against all odds, worked. But King Charles has decided that era is over. And for a couple described as being in a fragile state, the emotional toll is immeasurable. Right now, inside Royal Lodge, Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew are preparing for the unthinkable, leaving the only place that's felt like home. They've survived divorce, scandal, bankruptcy, public hatred. But this might be the thing that finally breaks them. The king has made his decision. The walls are closing in. The end is near. And for two people who've spent decades defying expectations, this is the final chapter. The question isn't if they'll leave Royal Lodge. It's how they'll leave and what will be left of them when they do. The doors are closing. The clocks are ticking. And for Sarah and Andrew, time has finally run out.